Hi everyone, it's Ayosia here. Haven't been on here for a while, but I thought this morning that I would show, in my last flip through video of the Rose Junk Journals, I mentioned that I would show how I made these, I don't know what you call them, envelope folders maybe, envelope folios or something like that. And I actually did film, a video last week, I think it was, but when I watched it through, it just seemed too chaotic and too all over the place. This will probably be the same because that is just the way that I work, but I don't know, I got myself in a pickle and then I deleted it. So I'm going to have another go today to make this, and so I'm going to stay calm. I've tried to prep as much as I can. So let us begin. Now, what was I going to say? I actually, in the process of making the last video, had a revelation which will help me today. So that was good. So it wasn't wasted. Because before I was making them, you need 4, let me start by saying that you need 4 envelopes, okay? Now you can choose whatever size you want, but you know, obviously the size that you choose will determine the size of your folder thing. So I don't have smaller envelopes. Okay, yeah. So if you chose, let's say, envelopes this size, you'd end up with a different effect. The other thing I will say is I don't know how to do this with envelopes that have a triangular thing. So let me put these away quickly. I'm just using envelopes that have a flap that looks like this. So I don't know. I just came up with it because these are the envelopes that I have in my possession. So yeah, so before I was doing it a different way, which is slightly trickier, but it does mean I'll talk you through that when I get to it. You can determine the size that you want, but to start with, for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to do one that is kind of A5 inside. It's slightly longer. These pages are these envelopes are a teeny bit, a fraction larger than an A5, but as you can see from my junk journal, my most recent junk journals, these still fitted within that sort of size. So this is roughly A5, and it opens up like, okay, let me show you how it works. I suppose that would be a good start. The front open, there's a pocket in there, and then you open it up, and then there's a tuck spot here. Then there's your one envelope that goes facing that way, and there's another envelope in there. So lots of, you know, lots of spaces to put your bits and pieces. And then it's the same on the other side. So there's a pocket there. There's a tuck spot here. There's an envelope in there and an envelope in there. And then it opens up like that on the inside. And I made a tuck spot here. There's a writing space, and then there's lots of different scraps of paper, note papers that flip up like that. This idea I realized that I got from Rachel at Roxy Creation. She made a kind of envelope, this bit, you know, with the things. She made an envelope thing, and then she had she put the note paper in like that. So Rachel does something like this in one of her envelope videos, and I know that a few journal makers have done like the folio type things. I think Tracie Fox probably has done something similar, and Wendy at Wendy's Journal Adventures, I think has a kind of envelope folio thing. So yeah, those are videos to check out. I'll put the links to those below. But I genuinely came up with this just playing around with envelopes, but I know that it's not a new concept at all. This is just how I did it, so I'm going to show that now. So let's put this here so that I can remember. Apologies for my croaky voice. Don't know why it's croaky this morning. Now where have I done my card? Okay, so I'm starting with a piece of A4 card, or you could start with a piece of A4 paper. Now, before, what I was doing, I wasn't using a base. I was just kind of, I had two envelopes like this, and then I stuck some paper there and some fabric, which is fine because then you'll end up, I did that method with this one, you'll end up with it, you can have it narrower, whereas if you use the template, you're constrained by the size of this. So, but I realized that it was more straightforward to do it this way. So you fold it in half and you have an A5 size that opens out. I haven't got my bone folder to hand. So you have that, yeah, A4 piece of card or paper folded in half. Then I'm going to place one envelope. So let's do one side first. That way, so you can see that the envelope is slightly longer, isn't it, than the paper, but that's okay. I'm sure that you can probably find, you can tweak this really to whatever size you want and find the envelopes accordingly. I haven't folded this paper very well. Okay, it's all going to get covered up anyway. So your first envelope is, I'm going to put it, actually let me open it that way. So we're now working on this part of this part and that part, yes? So put that there for reference. This envelope is going to go that way with the flap facing that way, and this envelope is going to go on that end with the flap facing that way, yeah? So I'm going to stick, I'm gonna stick those down. I don't need. So that's the outside of our folio thing. There's an envelope there. Now, if you wanted to keep it really simple, you could just do that and then decorate it, and then decorate the inside, and you're done. But what I'm making is a bit more involved. So what I'm then going to do is to cover this bit here with fabric, and then these two flaps with fabric, and I'm going to use the same fabric to coordinate things. Okay. So I'm going to use this pretty fabric that I purchased recently. I just need like you just need enough of a rectangle really to cover, you know, the gap. I'm not going to measure it, I don't know. So I'm going to stick this fabric there. I don't mind that it's overlapping because I actually, you know, the envelopes are slightly longer than the paper, so that's okay. I mean, I don't like that. I don't mind this poking out the top. It will all become clear. I don't know if this is helpful to anybody, but I just thought I would show my process just in case somebody did. I won't lie, this is quite fiddly, this process. And it's very time consuming. It takes a long time to make one. But they are really, I really love how they turn out eventually, you know, by the end. But the process is quite fiddly. I'll tell you that now, because I know that because I've already made a few, you know, with my last video. So now I'm going to use the same fabric and just cover. I don't need to decorate this bit because another envelope is going to go over it. So eventually another envelope is going to go over it that way, which is how you end up with the two envelopes, you see. So this I can leave, but I do need to decorate the flap. Now you could use paper. I think it probably, this is very fabric intensive. It uses quite a bit of fabric. So, you know, it might be better and more cost effective or whatever to use paper, or you could collage it, you know, you could do all sorts of things. It looks quite pretty. I'm using a slightly wider band of fabric than the flap because I do want it to overlap onto the inside of it. So that's why I'm doing that. So let me do it. Let me stick it down and then you'll see. So I'm going to stick the fabric onto the flap and also onto the back bit. Oh, I do need better glue. Let me see. Where is my glue? Oh dear. Maybe I'll probably edit this bit out with my very bad singing that does not have a tune. Okay, so I'm going to attach the fabric to the flap. Yes, I'm going to stitch it as well, but if you do a better job of gluing than I do, then you probably won't need to stitch it. The stitching is also decorative as well, so I'll do that and then I can trim. I'll trim around, you know, the edges. But I'm going to go ahead and stick it on the rest of the fabric on the inside bit because I do need that. I wish it was a little bit straighter though, because you're going to see that bit. Or maybe not actually. I don't know. No, it doesn't matter because I'm going to overlap that with paper on the other side, but one thing at a time. Okay, so that's done. Right, I'm going to trim around the edges. I hope this is recording. Okay, so you end up with yes, with the flap. I don't know why it's not bending. It's quite sturdy actually by the time you stuck the fabric down with a good glue. So that's the flap on one side, and so I'm going to go ahead and do the same for the other side. You have two flaps with fabric and a fabric tab. So on the finished thing, we've done this bit, and that bit. Yeah. And then you can see that on the inside, the fabric overlaps for this bit, which is the same here. And the fabric overlaps for this bit. Now we're going to go ahead, I think, and stick the fabric down on the inside for this bit. So let's do that. You don't really have to. This is where, you know, your own artistic, you might choose to collage all this bit or whatever. So this is the folder so far. We've got an envelope on that side, an envelope on that side with a fabric tab in the middle. And this is the inside, which is that A4 card. So before I didn't have this on the inside, I just had two 2 envelopes with fabric holding them together. So that would be another way of doing it. It would be a little bit more flimsy. Where is the other one? I do have one that looks like that. Oh yeah, here we are. So this is how I was doing it before. I just had two envelopes with a bit of fabric holding them together, but it was quite flimsy. And then I went and put a bit of card and then a bit of fabric, and then I thought, oh, if I just stuck them all to a piece of A4, it would be better. So, but you could do it this way if you wanted a narrower. Well, no, you just cut your paper narrower. So yeah, I don't know. That's just, you know, that was my process anyway. So that's the outside. This is the inside. So I'm just going to put a rectangle of fabric on the inside there. Yes, just because. So you see what I mean? It does actually use up quite a bit of fabric. So you might, you know, you might prefer to use paper. Because yeah, this is using quite a bit of fabric, I must say. Am I going to stitch? Yes, I am going to stitch. Well, let me use fabric glue anyway. So, I haven't strictly done it, you know, like with crisp edges, because I'm going to cover up some of it with paper. You'll see what I mean later on. So there we go. What I mean, you know, like these lines aren't straight because I'm going to cover it with paper. There'll be a bit of paper there, and there'll be a bit of paper there. So I probably could have been a bit more economical with the fabric. I know that I could have done. Yes. So okay, so that's that so far. Now what comes next? What I then will do is trim this fabric down to the size there, and then I'm going to stitch round these bits just because it will secure them and it looks nice. So there's some stitching, you know, there, and then okay, so what I've done so far is I've just stitched round the flap there, and I just put a line of stitching on the other side, and I stitched round, yeah, and I stitched round the flap and put a line of stitching. I didn't do the middle bit actually because I realised that it would be better to stitch after I stuck the paper down on the inside. I have trimmed the fabric down to the size of the envelope, so you've just got now, you know, it's all the same size. So we could either do the next bit, the envelope, or we could do the inside. Let me do the inside. I'll just do a bit of the inside because then I can stitch, and then that's done, and then I'll do the envelope. So so now what we're going to do is work on the inside bits, not completely, just a little bit. I'm just literally going to put this paper down there and this paper down there, and then I'm going to put a line of stitching there and there, and then round. Yeah. Okay. I have this vintage sketch pad from the 1960s, and the paper is really nice colour and it's good quality as well. So I'm going to use that. Oops. Okay. And I just need, and it's handy because it's good size. So I probably need a rectangle of paper that's about 4 inches wide. So let's do that then. Okay, so I've got 2 rectangles of paper that's about 4 inches that way. So I'm just going to stick these down now to overlap the fabric. You see what I mean? So then it looks nice and tidy. Like that. So I'm going to do that now. Oops. Okay. I hope this is sufficiently straightforward so far, not too confusing. Let me just secure these random bits of fabric sticking down. Probably should have put the glue on the paper, but shouldn't I? Because it would be more accurate. Okay, so that's going to go down there. So this is the inside of the folio thing. Let me put the glue on the paper. That way. And this will go there. So that looks nice and tidy, doesn't it? So now what I'm going to do is, if I had been clever, I could have lined up the paper exactly with the envelope, but it's a bit hard to see. Just put a line of, very narrow line of stitching there. Hopefully, let me see. Yeah, we're okay. It won't interfere with the envelope. And then I'm going to stitch along the top there, just for a nice line. And as long as you stick to the very, very far edges, you won't interfere with the envelope. So just the very edge, I'm going to put a line of stitching there, a line of stitching there, a line of stitching there, and a line of stitching there. Okay, so, and then I know that that bit's done. Okay, so I have stitched all those bits. Yeah, so that's it. That's the inside. Eventually I'm going to put a tuck spot there, and then the note paper will go, the flip up note paper will go there. But for now, let's work on the other envelope that's going to insert itself there. So because this envelope is facing that way, we need an envelope that's going to go that way. So like with here, and then it will be open there, so that will be the pocket for that bit. So now I'm working on this envelope. Is one envelope. Is this envelope that's just going to attach there. Do you see? So what we now need to do, so we're working on this whole bit now, just this bit. So we're going to cover the flap with fabric, and then we're going to collage and create a tuck spot. Yes, so you could either use the same fabric, or I'm going to use a different fabric, which here it is, for this flap. And then this will be a bit like, you know, I did another envelope thing a couple of weeks ago, I think, where I collaged the front, and then, yeah, so it'll be a bit like that. So with this envelope, we're literally going to collage this bit, put a tuck spot if you want, that's optional, and then I'm going to cover this flap with fabric. So I want a piece of fabric that's going to go we don't need it as wide as the other bit, because it doesn't matter how much it overlaps on the other side, because you're not going to see it. It'll overlap a little bit, just, you know, for security. Let me just trim off these frayed edges and then stick that down. Oh, I do hope this is a bit clearer than... Well, you didn't see the last one because I didn't post it. But I hope this is clear enough, because it does feel like it's a bit of a complicated thing, but actually when you break it down, it's not too bad. You know, it's just if you have a bit of time and you fancy trying something new, I thought I would share it. So let me see. Well, seeing as this fabric is here, I may as well just overlap it anyway, because it will give a nice... You won't see it, as I say, but it will give a nice edge, I suppose. So I'll just stick that down there. And then trim off the bits, and then like before I will stitch round I'll stitch around these bits. But you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do the same with the other envelope because I'm going to need to anyway, so I may as well do that now. So the other envelope for the other side, so this envelope is going to go here. Yeah, and then we'll tie it shut, and then the other envelope is going to go here. So I may as well stick the fabric down for that envelope, seeing as we're doing that. It'd be a bit silly not to, wouldn't it? So I'll just go ahead and do the same. Okay, so I have stitched, this recording, I've stitched all around there, yeah? So now we are going to, so what we now have to do is to decorate this bit, because that will be seen, and then if you want to, you can put a tuck spot there. So that's what I'm going to do now. Oh yes, I mentioned also in one video that I was going to do a tour of the library upstairs, because we live in a building that has a library in it, and anyway, 2 weekends ago I did go up there to film. I can go and look around in the evenings, like when it's not open. And I did film, and again, I didn't post it because I convinced myself that it wasn't a very good video. So you see how I have been the victim twice of perfectionism. It's just sometimes the way with me. I worry about things too much. I go, oh, no, I'm not going to post that. No. And then no one gets to see it, so I don't know if I'm going to post it or not. My skills as a what do you call that thing, film maker or whatever, not very good. So, and also it's a mess up there because the building is we are actually going to need to move. We're going to be moving probably later in the year, because the building that we live in is going to have a lot of, it's going to be completely redeveloped apparently. So we're going to need to move out because they're doing major building works. So the library upstairs is actually a big mess because they're packing up books and sorting through things. So I went up there and I was like, oh my goodness, I was hoping to film, you know, a nice video showing you all the old books and things, but instead it's a mess up there. So I don't know if anybody wants to see it, but I might still post it or wait till it's a bit tidier or something. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud. I'm suddenly very tired. I've not been very well actually lately. Which is why I truthfully haven't made a video for about a week or so. First I had the flu, and then I did my back in. And then the last couple of days I had a horrendous migraine. So there we are. It's been very joyful over here. You know, as in not. I haven't got a migraine now, but you know, I don't know if anyone has migraines. You know that the day after, you do still feel a bit ropey. So I've suddenly realised that I'm not feeling fantastic. But I just really did want to make this video. Because I like doing it. I like chatting. I feel like I'm chatting with you all. I feel like I'm hanging out with friends. Even though I can't see you. I know that at some point someone friendly will be watching it. And it does make me feel better. So I'm very grateful to this community for that. But I'm going to go and take a break and have a cup of tea, I think. I suddenly feel very tired. Let me stick this down. Yes, I'm just basically collaging, you know, the envelope, but I'm going to stick it down quite well because I can't stitch these bits. Well, I could stitch it all together before I stuck it down, but I didn't think that far ahead. I don't know if I'm going to use that. Yeah, why not? Oh, that side's quite nice. That side's prettier. But it's going to get covered up anyway because of the... Let me see. Oh, this is quite pretty. Let me use this side. This is some scrapbook paper. I really like this side though, I must say. Good way to decide is because I know that it's going to go, this is what it's going to look like on here. So a good way to decide your colour scheme is to see what it all looks like. So does that look nice like that, or does it look better like this? See, I prefer this side. It looks better. So that's a good way of judging things because the parts will make up a whole, so it's good to see how it all comes together. Okay, I'm going to take a little break. I'll see you in a bit. Hello again, I've had a little break, feel a lot better, and I've got my coffee. So, let's finish decorating this envelope. I think I'm going to put that there. Oh, I must remember, I can't stitch it, so I need to stick it down properly. What else? Bought this pretty ribbon the other day. It hasn't got roses on it, but it's got flowers. No, actually, I think that will be too much. Yes, it will. Got some scraps of fabric on here, so maybe something. Can use something. Okay, we could just keep it fairly simple, couldn't we? Because I'm gonna put a tuck spot there, so let me go ahead and do that. So what I've been using for those are just bits that I can cut out of some scrapbook paper. I had some. Let's see if I've got any of those left. This is Stamperia, I think. Stamperia paper. I don't actually have a tag per se, but I've got something that I could use, so I'll just cut that out. So yes, that could be our tuck spot. There. I think that looks really pretty. I feel like I need to put something down there. Have I got any little doilies hanging about? Let's have a look. Rummage, 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 rummage. I'll tell you what I do have are these little tags. That would make a nice, better tuck spot, probably more economical. And then that could be the tag that goes in there. Let's do that. I just found that. Found that in my rummaging. I still want to put something down there though. I do have it. Yes, here we go. Half a doily that was doing some collaging yesterday. So let's stick that down there. Then I think there's a virus going around that's like a flu virus that goes, then comes back, then goes and comes back. My daughter Daniela has been ill so many times, and we all just keep getting better and then getting ill again. So that's a bit of a pain, I must say. I'm hoping that the change in weather will improve things, and taking lots of vitamins and things. So that's that. This will be the tuck spot there. I'd like to put something on there. So what shall I do? Oh, there's these cute little things that come with the paper. So with the little bits here that I want to stick on my. I don't even like it after I've cut it. What else could I use that I've got to hand? I've got these. These are properly vintage, and as with all these nice bits, they belong to my friend's grandmother, and these are cut out things, but they're on really sturdy card, but they're really old. I don't know how old, but they were in her grandmother's craft, amongst her grandmother's craft stuff. So I might use a bit from here, although it won't fit on my little tag, will it? No, it's not going to fit, so let me see. No. Well, it will sort of fit, but I'll have to cut a bit off. Let's see if I can make it fit. Oops, that bit is ripped already. So what was I talking about before I needed to head off for a break? Perfectionism, probably, because that's my constant struggle. You see how I've got bogged down with just such a tiny little detail. But it does need something. I do think it needs something. I don't know what, but it needs something underneath that. So I won't call that perfectionism. I'll just call that artistic, you know, artistic something or other. So let me stick that down. And then I'll stick that down with some good glue. So this is all for the little tag, the little tuck spot. Okay, and then I shall attach the little tuck spot to the envelope. So I want yes. I thought I'd run out of these little tags. Again, these were my friend's grandmother's, but these are my last two. I just found another two. Bring that in a tiny bit, I think. Yeah. So that's that envelope. It's done. So then when that's dry, this pretty little card will live in there. That'll look really pretty. So the next step now, and I obviously would do the same with the other side, but I don't know whether I should do that now or what. I don't know whether to just complete It's going to take, you see what I mean? It does take a long time. And I'm working at a snail's pace today. Oh, I hope nobody's bored. I'm bored. I've bored myself, but I've only... Yes, so the next stage would be to stick this down there, around the 3 edges, so that this bit stays open and that becomes another pocket. And then, as with this one, I thought it would be nice to attach some ribbon to close these 2 envelope flaps. There, did you see? Could use my new ribbon, but again, I think that's too busy. Oh my gosh, I'm in mayhem. I did buy some more ribbon. I found this ribbon shop because I can be quite lazy. The fabric shop I usually go to is a little distance away, so it's a bus ride away. And as you know, I live in central London, and I thought, well, why don't I googled fabric shops near me, and there was one just off Oxford Street, you know, like the main shopping street in London. And I thought, well, that's within walking distance, so I thought I'll go there. Oh my goodness, it's so expensive. I kept going into shops going, have you got any rose print fabric? And some of them were really snooty, almost like, we're kind of high fashion, we don't do rose print in here or whatever. So some people just gave me an odd look, because I was obviously asking in the wrong sort of shop for that, because they were kind of like fashion, the fashion fabrics, not my patchwork type fabric or whatever. So that didn't go down too well. And then when I did find a shop that had, you know, like a variety of fabrics, it was so expensive. I just couldn't believe it. And then I found another shop called McCulloch. It's a well-known shop, McCulloch. Have I got it here? No, I don't have the receipt. McCulloch and Wallace or something like that. That's off Oxford Street as well. Oh my gosh, it's like heaven in there. But again, it's really pricey. But it had so many fabrics and so many trims. The trims, I was just like, ah! So that's where I found this ribbon. And it was so pricey, I literally just bought a meter of it. Because by that time, I had been walking around so many different shops and not buying anything, so everything in there was so pricey. I thought, I've got to buy something to take home with me. So I found these pretty ribbons, which remind me a little bit of, you can tell I'm bored with my project now, so now I'm chatting about other things. It reminds me a little bit of scrapbook paper, but on ribbon. On ribbon. It's really pretty. So I bought a couple of meters of that. And then I bought this, this is bias binding actually, but it was really pretty, so I bought that. So I just thought, I'm not walking out of another shop empty-handed. So that was my shopping trip a couple of days ago before I got a migraine. Maybe that's what gave me the migraine, who knows? And so then I found this, they had a box of remnants, so I got all of this ribbon for £2.50, which is quite good. It's not very exciting ribbon, but I thought, oh, well, that's a bargain. I should have filmed in there. My gosh, it was so lovely. McCulloch and Wallace, I think it was called. Anyway, I don't know why I'm giving them free advertising. They don't need my free advertising. But the what do you call it? The trims in there were unbelievable. They were gorgeous. So I was quite happy I discovered that shop. Like, you know, I'd only go in there if it was a special treat or something. So this is one of the ribbons I got from there. Could that work? It's a bit white, isn't it? A bit white and a bit satiny, but maybe that doesn't matter. Or I could use this one. This is just something I have lying around. That would work better, wouldn't it? I'll use that. So the idea is that you... what I did do, and one of the ones I made was, I just did one closure from here, I think, and then the other side and then closed it one, but I prefer doing it individually. It's more, I don't know, it's just more fun and interactive that way. So I will do it this way, where there's a closure for these two flaps here. So I don't know if anybody's still with me. I think I have enough, yes, for the two. How much do I need? Probably that much. Okay, so let me cut that. Well, I do hope I finish this, because I don't want to have to film this all over again, yet again, because it's a very long process. So, where are we? This is still so much to do. Okay, so a bit of ribbon goes there and a bit of ribbon goes there, so I'm gonna do that now. Well, I'll just glue it on and then later I'll stitch it, because, you know, no, I do need to stitch it before I glue this down, because it's a little difficult to angle it. So I'll let me just secure it a tiny bit, then I'll stitch it. Okay, so I want it about there, don't I? It's such a pretty end result, but it is, you know, whew, won't lie, it's quite time consuming, this process. But it does come out really pretty. Do you know what you could use these for? They would make really nice journal covers. If you want to make something special for someone with lots of little bits, you know, tucked away into the little bits and pieces, it would make a really nice. So this one, this finished one I used to illustrate. That could make a nice journal cover if you didn't have this bit. So you just put your signatures in there. So that would work. You could actually bind this straight into a journal. So it could be just like maybe one signature on its own. So you'd bind this into the journal as part of your other papers, other signatures. And or it could just be like a loose thing like this. You could put your receipts in there and all the different envelopes. You can tuck in all your receipts and things that you want to keep in one place. So maybe for a one-off thing, it's worth the time. Okay, so let's get this finished. So that's that side. So when I stitch it, that will be the closure for that side. I'm on this side. What? No, hold on. Yes, I'm here. Yes. And then I can now stick this down. So I haven't quite lined up the ribbons, have I? Look at that. How'd I manage that? It's not quite lined up, which is very annoying for a perfectionist like me. I'm very sorely tempted to undo that and redo it, but I won't do that now. Okay, yes, let me stick this down. So we're just gonna do these three edges. These three edges there, so that that's open there. So let's make sure nothing is upside down. Okay. So just right on the edges we're going to glue. Okay. And that's gonna, the edge of this is gonna line up with the entrance to this envelope. Yes. Yes. Righty ho. Okay. So that's this side done. Yeah. So there's a tuck spot here. There's an envelope there. There's an envelope there. And this closes up like so. Little, with its own little closure. I think that looks really pretty. And then when that's dry, there is a pocket in there. Yeah, but I can't show you yet because the glue is not quite dry. Okay, then it would be a case of doing exactly the same process on this side. I don't know that you need to see me do that, surely not. But I'll do it and then I'll speed it up because you just see me do it. And then, how about that? Oh, we still got the inside to do though. So let me just whiz through this bit, speeding it up, and then you'll see me do the inside. So there should be some music playing now. Well, I have the other side, don't I, of that. It's sad to use it up because I have no replacement for it. Because this is properly vintage. I can't order another one or anything, but you know, it's not good to hoard things, it's good to use them up. So that's what I'm gonna do. Freely I was given this, so freely, no, hold on, freely you received, so freely give. So yeah, freely I received this, so freely I shall use it. You get the gist. So this would be exactly the same tuck spot as the other side, and that does make me happy. So let me attach this. In other news, I'm very excited. I'm going to start having singing lessons again. I haven't seen my teacher for a little while. Just, you know, life stuff. And also I wasn't really doing that much singing to warrant, you know, paying so much. It's not so much a lesson to learn how to sing, but just to keep you, a bit like you have a personal trainer. To keep you fit, you need to, it's good to see a singing teacher regularly to keep yourself vocally fit. And to learn new songs and all that. So I hadn't done that for a little while, for a couple of years, and I just decided that I really would like to do that again, but just because it's good. It's good for the soul, you know. It's good to do the things that you love. Oh, I've stuck this, hold on. Stuck this. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's the same way around. I was just checking how I stuck it on the other side. So I need to stick this down now for the tuck spot. Yes, I'm very excited about having singing lessons again. It just makes me very happy and it's good. So yeah, I used to do a lot more singing, but I don't know if I've mentioned. I can never know what I've mentioned on here and what I haven't, because I suddenly sometimes feel very chatty and then just chatting away. So this is going to go there. Yes. So yeah, a few years ago, about actually almost 10 years ago, before that I was singing a lot professionally and teaching and so on. I still do a bit of teaching now, but then I had to give it all up because I got ill. I had was diagnosed with a kidney disease, and I was really poorly for quite a while, and so I had to give it all up and just come to terms with that, you know. And so even now I still have to watch my energy levels and, you know, take medication, all that kind of stuff. But when I have a singing lesson, it reminds me of the person that I still am, the same person obviously, but it reminds me of what I used to really love doing and still do. I still sing, but not as much, because you need a lot of strength and stamina to do it. So yeah, that was she was my singing teacher from all those years. Been seeing her probably 18 years. She's been my teacher. So it's so lovely. I'm so excited to go back and see her. And it's like, you know, it's like seeing an old friend as well. It's really, this needs to be a bit higher. I just remembered, because the other side I need to fix. Yeah, so it's really nice. It'd be really good life and soul affirming thing to do. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So that's what's new for me. So I'm going to stitch that down, and then the outsides are done. And the inside, I don't know if, you know, time. Ooh. So where am I? I've just attached these closures. So I'm going to now attach this on these three sides to here. Yeah. So yeah, so the wonderful thing about creativity is, you know, there are lots of different ways of self-expression. So hold on, let me concentrate a minute. I'm sticking these three sides down. Yes, I had a season, you know, through illness that I couldn't sing. But when I did feel better, I was able to do art. And because, you know, that's a bit quieter and that's a bit, you know, a bit still. And I could do that at home. And then, you know, and then I discovered the journaling. Okay, you know I can't multitask. You watched a few of my videos, you know. So I'm going to have to stop talking for a minute, because otherwise I'll stick this down wrong. Here we go. So, oh gosh, I can't remember what I was saying. What was I saying? That. Oh yes, and then I discovered the journaling. And that has just been such a joy. I mean, I always did journal, but I mean like the making journals and this whole community, you know, that I can do at home. And so lovely, because you know, I get to combine all the things that I love. I love journaling, I love art, I love making things, I love fabric and colour, and this has just been such a wonderful thing. And everyone's been so kind, either in sharing my work or in commenting or subscribing. I've just been blown away, I tell you. So I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for where I am now, you know, like my health is much better. And I'm just, you know, doing what I love. And I'm really, really, really thankful, I must say. Really thankful. So there we are. So that is that for the outside. We have, this is the front. Opens up, you see me do that. See that? So now I just need to find a couple of things to put in the pockets, just to illustrate, you know, what could go in there. I don't know what I can put in there. That's the problem. Oh, I know. I was making some tags the other day, so I haven't finished them, but I'll just use them for illustration purposes. So here's one. So that could go in there. It would have a tab on the end of it, but I won't put that on because I haven't finished stitching on there. And then another tag could go in there. Yes, so you have a tag, a pocket there. And then inside you have all the envelopes. Now, when you open it up, this is just the very last bit and then we're done. So I think, my goodness, this has been a long one. You could put another tuck spot would go there. If you wanted to, you could just leave it like this and use this as a notebook cover and put pages in and stitch in there. I just basically gathered a whole bunch of papers and stitched along the top. That's literally what I did. And then just covered it with this fabric because it looked pretty. That is literally what I did. So I think this video has been too long. So yeah, so you could just put some note papers in there, and then on here I just put a tuck spot there and put another pretty tag there. So that's that. I just really wanted to show how to do all the envelopey bits. So the inside, it's up to you how you want to do it. You could put papers and stitch them in that way to make a notebook, you know, and so on. So that's, you know, however you want to use it. So that is the envelopey thing. I hope it was useful and not too chaotic. Okay, lots and lots of love. It's been a joy hanging out with you this morning, and I shall see you soon. Bye. Bye-bye.